Yo, what's up, guys? Real quick live stream. There's some really big discrepancies. I mean, kind of fucking crazy, but I assume the sports books are just, focused on watching their football lines. So you'll see there are a ton, like a shit ton of good bets right now in CSGO. So a lot of line discrepancies we can take advantage of. Most of them are on Underdog Fantasy, so I'm going to try to move quickly. I don't want to waste people's time. I know football's on. But, look at this. This is insane, right? This is how fragmented the sports betting market is. It's fucking crazy, right? Literally the exact same player, his line, it's like seeing a stock at 37.50 on PrizePicks or on one stock exchange, like E-Trade. Imagine being a day trader where a stock is 37.50 on Fidelity, 42.50 on E-Trade. It would be fucking easy to be a day trader. But regardless, clear value on the under on Underdog Fantasy, they have his line at 42.5. Literally every other sports book has his line at 37.5 or 37. So that's the first play we want to go with. Again, just kind of following the data. So what we can do too is we can include Walker TD, take the under. So I'm already on this play. We have this play all over PrizePicks, right? So I think we did. So we can take a look here. Like you can see, we have a lot of slips coming down to Kenneth Walker not scoring a touchdown, but it's really good value. And the reason I say that is a lot of people, it's like, why is it good value, And it's a good question, but the reason it's good value is we can take a look right here at Walker. Let's take a look at our boy Kenneth Walker. As you can see, he's heavily favored to not score a touchdown. So that's the play we want to go with, right? The way that Underdog Fantasy works is they have fixed payouts. You take the over, and you can see they already locked this line on Mister. So I got to shut up for a second because I assume people are betting it ahead of me. And I really just need to lock in some plays before these lines move. So here's another fucking crazy play. I mean, this is insane. Right? If you want to make money sports betting, this is how you do it. 34.5 on Underdog, 31, 31.5 across all the books. Let me make sure, though. Let me go to the chat quickly. I just want to make sure this is working properly. I know we've had issues with the live stream before. In some plays. Anyways, let me know if it's not. I know sometimes I've been having a problem with the software. But anyways, I'm just going to try to move quickly. Where the fuck is this guy? So we want Sunday under 34.5. Again, every other data point. All these sportsbook setting odds are, they have sophisticated models, whatever, however you want to think about it. But the one thing we do have to do is we can't include plays for esports, players in the same game. Right? So this is just very rational sports betting. Doc's line, it's like, what are they doing? They're just screwing up all their lines right now. And I'm not saying this bet is a lock, but Underdog has his line at 36.5. Every other DFS site, every other fantasy site has his line significantly lower at 33.5. So anyways, they're moving these quickly. So if you do want to tail, just try not to be slow. I know a lot of people are slow. And then it's, oh, man, the line moved. You really got to move fast. This is kind of like day trading. And you can see there's a ton of good bets right now for tomorrow. Lich, 20 here, 17.5 on PrizePicks. So this will be the first play we lock in. And, well, actually, I'm going to take this headshot play. It looks a little better. But I got to move quicker. Shit's going to move on me. So are all these plays in the same game? Well, let's take a look here. So what we can do is we can just grab, this one. So this will be our first slip, right? 3 unders. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. Let's go back here. We want the Boca Juniors play. So again, most plays aren't line discrepancies, right? So I'm going to lock in this. But if you want to pull it up, most bets suck, right? Underdog has tens of thousands of lines up. Most of these plays suck, right? We're really looking for those few spots where they're actually screwing up. Right? And then we're just trying to exploit them. Again, the reason that sportsbooks don't really give that much of a shit about if their lines are good or not, I mean, they kind of do, But as you have to remember, like, the markets aren't that liquid. Like, you'll see if I try to bet $1,000 on Underdog, they tell me, no, you can only bet 100. So, sometimes if you're a smarter customer, they'll reduce your bet sizes a little. I used to be able to bet like $500 on esports. Now I'm down to 100. So just kind of how it is. But what we can do is we can refresh this, and we can take a look at some football lines here in a second. We have, Thursday night football. Or what the fuck am I saying? We have Monday night football. Once that goes ahead and loads, but without further ado, clearly the value's in esports, and really, you shouldn't have to use your brain that much to see how good these plays are, right? Like, it's insane. You're basically creating your own Taco Tuesday. That's how I kind of like to think about it. If you use PrizePicks, what's up, guys? It was a pretty good Sunday. A lot of FanDuel. In these live streams, I try to focus on like Underdog, PrizePicks, because these are books that are legal basically everywhere in the U.S. I thought we had some 6 picks. So this 6 pick, all down to Walker. 10 to win 250. So these are 25x payouts. A lot of people, every time I lose one, it's like, you lost one. It's like, bro, we're getting a 25x payout. We're betting 10 to win 250. We're not going to win half of these. One pays for the next 24. If you can win above 1 out of 25, you're still breaking even, or you're still turning a profit. But anyways, here it's like, okay, Underdog has line at 38.5. All the other books have line at 34.5. So it's like, okay, clear value on the under. And let's just try to fire off these slips before all the good lines go away. And damn, these teams must suck. The Giants are only small favorites. So you can see line movements here, like, Seahawks small favorites, whatever. But we can take a look at some bets here in a second for the game. I just hit this actually on Fliff, Metcalf over 60.5 receiving yards. I don't know what happened. I don't know if other Seahawks receivers are inactive, or I don't know why the market moved, but you can see he went from roughly on every single sports book. He moved from being like a minus 115 favorite. They all ripped him down to like minus 150. So now he's a lot bigger of a favorite to go over, but Fliff is asleep at the wheel, still offering this line at minus 120. They messing up big time. So let's refresh this. And let's try to lock in these plays quickly. So again, you're basically just creating your own PrizePicks Taco Tuesday, right? You're creating your own plays with value. It's like here, it's like Underdog has line at 38.5. All these other books, 34, 34.5. I have no idea what they're doing. I don't know why they're that stupid, but they're screwing up their lines. So you can see, though, all these plays are in the same game, so I'm not going to be able to bet them. So I need to skip down to Sunday, because you got to move quickly. I mean, you'll see some of these lines get bumped pretty dang quick. This play on Sunday is really good. And again, I play a lot of 3-pick entries on Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has fixed payouts, right? They're not, changing your payout based on you selecting over versus under, right? That's the way Underdog Fantasy works. You take overs, you take unders. Any 3-pick entry, you're getting a 6x payout, so I'm going to hit this if you want to start pulling it up. Whereas on PrizePicks, the reason, PrizePicks, another really popular, fixed payout fantasy platform, is PrizePicks, they only give you a 5x payout. So long story short, when you go through the math, kind of behind Underdog Fantasy, and I'm going to lock this in, so lock it in if you want to lock it in, because these lines won't last that long. You'll see if you check tomorrow before the games, like, this value is going to go away. Underdog Fantasy is asleep at the wheel. They're probably watching their football lines, and we're catching them sleeping. But anyways, what I was going to say is on Underdog Fantasy, when you go through the math behind this platform, right, they have fixed payouts. Any 3-pick parlay, any 3-pick entry you create, right? It doesn't matter if you take, esports, whatever, any 3-pick entry you create, you're going to be getting a 6x payout. So basically it all just boils down to, what percentage of your picks can you win? And on Underdog Fantasy, you got to win picks over 55% of the time to be profitable. So the easy way to do that is you just find where they're fucking up a line relative to every other sportsbook. PrizePicks is $1 billion company with sophisticated models. So I don't know why people always think they can outmodel the sportsbooks. It's like, why do you think your shitty model is going to be better than a multi-billion-dollar company's model whose full-time job is to set lines and move lines around based on where action's coming in? So again, I'm not sure why the Metcalf line has moved. You can see this on the OddsJam Positive EV tool. This tool just the fantasy optimizer points out value on these fixed payout fantasy sites like PrizePicks and Underdog Fantasy, which are legal in a bunch of places. But again, they're different from traditional sports books because they don't have odds, right? On PrizePicks, there's no numbers, there's no odds. So it's very different from a traditional sports book, right? Where the Seahawks are minus 126. Whereas, on Underdog Fantasy, there's no odds. It's just a bunch of fucking lines with fixed payouts. So the fantasy optimizer kind of shows you plays on Underdog, whereas the EV tool plays on traditional sports books that are pricing odds. So here we have all these data points, all these sophisticated bookmakers pricing us at minus 155. And you have to remember how a sports book works, right? The way that a sports book works is they charge a spread called the VIG, right? So the same way a car dealer charges a spread, sports books charge a spread. DraftKings has this line minus 150 plus 120. So what does that mean? That's a 30-cent spread, right? So what that means is they think the over should really be priced around minus 135, right? They're charging a 30-cent spread. It's kind of like if a car dealer buys your car for $10,000, then flips it, sells it for $15,000. They thought the fair price or the price of your car, what your car is actually worth, is the midpoint, right? The fair value, 12.5K. So here for Metcalf, it's minus 150 plus 120. The true line, according to DraftKings Sportsbook model, would be minus 135. But it's also just pretty clear. Nobody knows what Fliff's doing. Every other sportsbook, every other data point has these books heavily favored, has Metcalf heavily favored to go over. So anyways, let's go back to Underdog so we can lock in some picks quick. And again, only 100, the hard part isn't the strategy. The hard part is getting down the volume. The good thing is there's a lot of plays right now. So if we go here, that's not what we want to look at. Let's go here. And we can take a look at this guy. It's again, you could also middle bet these, right? So a middle bet is pretty simple. Again, because the sports betting market is just so fragmented, all these books are trying to set lines independently. It should be pretty clear. Taking over 29.5 and under 33 seems pretty good. If this guy has 30, 31, 32, 33 kills, you'll win both bets, right? That's a no-brainer. But because ParlayPlay, the other sports books, are also Underdog Fantasy is the side that's screwing up. It's pretty clear that Underdog Fantasy is the side that's screwing up. That's just the play, I'm going to go with. So anyways, we can go back here. Anything else we want to go with on Fliff? So it looks like the Packers, small favorites against the Raiders. Lines moving towards them off the get-go. I don't know why. Who knows? But you can see early action. They open minus 108, minus 108. Right? Most books open the Packers and Raiders even money. So this is already NFL Week 5. Crazy to say. But you can see all the sports books have ripped odds towards the Packers. Pinnacle right here, which is known to be one of the sharper, more sophisticated sports books, they've already ripped the line down to minus 120. And again, who knows why that happened? Maybe lineup changes. Maybe a player on the Raiders got injured today. Who knows? But the point is it's a market, right? The same way a stock price is determined by supply and demand of every investor in the world thinking about the price of a stock every day, how valuable is a company, is it's really hard to outsmart everyone else, which is why you trust markets, right? My favorite example is Facebook stock. It's $300. If you think you're smarter than everyone else, right? The price of a stock is based on supply and demand of investors, right? Everyone who wakes up every day. There are millions of people who wake up every day and their full-time fucking job is to think about if this company is a buy or a sell, right? If it's overvalued or undervalued. They look through reports, financials, everything like that. They have sophisticated models, and the price is $300. So unless you think you're smarter than everyone else, and it's the same thing here, right? Books move around lines based on new information, player injuries, weather changes, and also where action's coming into the market. They're not fucking stupid. If all the money is coming in on the Packers, they're going to move odds towards the Packers, right? Like, people always think like, oh, sports books don't know that it's going to be snowing, so I'm taking the under. It's like, dude, oh my gosh. So anyways, we got our first pick here, right? I'm just going to be locking in a ton of esports plays. And you can see a lot of these picks are in the same game, which kind of sucks for us. But I mean, they are screwing up like, it's like their whole CSGO model is just screwing up. Every other book, opening this line at like 35, 34 half. You would never see this in the NBA, but you see it in sports betting, especially in esports, because books can't manage their lines. They're trying to release lines on all these esports games, and they just can't do it. They just can't, right? Like, there's dozens of esports games every day. These games start all hours of the day, and clearly they don't have a dialed-in model for setting lines because they're always way off from the rest of the market. Or not always, but at least today they are. I mean, right? Like, it's like, what are they doing? So we've already bet on, who have we already bet on? So, because you can only bet, like, I'm not going to be able to take the same player twice, and I can guarantee you every single one of these lines we bet, Watts under 34 half, right? If you check tomorrow, his line will probably be at 31 or 31 and a half, right? The value is going to go away. So you got to bet it now if you want to be on it. The value, again, will go away. So again, this is a 3-pick entry I'll lock in. Well, actually, I don't want to, sorry, because those players are in the same game. So you really want to be careful playing things, you know, players. Oh my gosh, this is insane. So look at this line, headshots, player headshots. Who would have thought, you know, when you were a little kid, you ever think you'd be betting on headshots? But it's like, you know, look at this line. They have his headshot line at 18. PrizePicks has the line at, you know, and again, like, football is great, but if the money is to be made in esports, you know, 15 and a half here, 18 here, and they already locked the turtle play. So what I have to do is go back here, and it's like 18, 15 and a half. You could bet the over 15 and a half on PrizePicks, hit the under 18 on, you know, Underdog. It's just like buying a stock for $15.50, selling it for $18. But now we need a different pick for that game we were previously looking at. So we already have a play in this game. Did they just rip the turtle line on us? We wanted Watts under 34 half. So we are just going to have a ton of CSGO unders for tomorrow. And again, a lot of these plays you could middle bet. You know, like, it should be clear as day, right? Betting over 15 and a half and under 18 is a no-brainer decision if you use both PrizePicks and Underdog. And this is also a benefit of having multiple books, right? You never know where the value is going to be. There's not a ton of value right now on the sports books. I use WinBet, I use Underdog, I use PrizePicks, I use JockMarket, DraftKings, Fliff. Well, we can put FanDuel back in. And you can see there's a lot of bets on FanDuel right now. I dropped a lot of FanDuel bets on Twitter today. They're not a ton, but, like, you know, this play seems solid. St. Louis, over 1.5 goals. This play I actually already bet. I have no idea what they're doing. Plus 164. All the other books, plus 135. You can also see the market is locked. So locked market, I mean, it may sound like a complicated term, but it's pretty simple. You could either bet the over 100 to win 164, or you could bet the under 164 to win 100, right? So you could hit the over and the under The over for 100. Like, if you bet the over for 100, the under for 164 on Pinnacle, you wouldn't lose any money, right? Your net profit would be zero. If you bet the over on FanDuel for $100, you're betting 100 to win 164. If you bet the under on Pinnacle, 164 to win 100, right? So you can, if the game goes over, you make $164 on FanDuel, but you lose 164 on Pinnacle. So, like, long story short, whenever the market is locked, the plus number equals the minus number for equal and opposite outcomes. One of these bets has to be profitable. We could bet both of these bets and we wouldn't make money, we wouldn't lose money. So some sportsbook is screwing up. Anyways. Damn. So we now got a lot of esports bets. So we have 9 picks total that we've locked in. Do we already have our boy Croc and Jobin? So typically I just kind of go through the market. Now I'm just trying to remember who I've already bet on. But typically, and you'll notice all these plays are going to start to get bumped. So a lot of people who may be like, I'll think about tailing. It's like, you're not, like, discrepancies like this aren't supposed to exist in the market, and they will go away, right? So speed is really, is really important. So we already have a play on Lish. Do we already have a play on our boy Matios? Under 37. All the other books way lower, right? So we take a look at the CSGO lines. Then we want to go over to player kills. 37, 34 and a halves across the board. So these are huge discrepancies. I mean, we're finding clear plays with an edge relative to the rest of the market, and that's really all you can ask for. Nobody knows the future. Nobody knows locks. It's absolute BS. Anyone who tells you they can predict the future, tell you exactly what's going to happen, it's all about finding plays with an edge, trying to win long term. Damn, they're screwing up all their lines. Here's another great one you could middle, right? Take a look at this guy, MXA, right? His line is 14.5 headshots on Underdog, and his line is 12.5 headshots on PrizePicks. Hit the over 12.5, hit the under 14.5. If he has, 13 or 14 headshots, you win both bets. So I'll give it a sec, but then I'm going to lock this in. Because why not? Anyways, going to go ahead and lock it in. A lot of Underdog fantasy bets. And yeah, thanks so much for your time.